I recently received some comments and questions on music theory video number 740, so I wanted to make this follow-up video going into some more details. So in the original video, we were asked to name the chord and its inversion, and I said that this chord written here was a C sharp minor 7 chord, and it was in third inversion because the 7th of the chord was down in the bass. All right, now it was at KD2154. They asked, well, why is C sharp the root? You've got a B down in the bass. Why are you calling C sharp the root of the chord? And I'll get into that in a second. And then also it was at RH Proger. They said, well, yeah, it could be a C sharp minor 7 chord in third inversion, or they pointed out it also could be an E major chord with a 6, E major 6 or E6, and it would be in second inversion. And they're right about that. I'll get into why I think C sharp minor 7 is probably the best spelling in this particular case. But back to the question from at KD2154. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the notes that we have, and we've got a B down in the bass, E, we've got the C sharp, and then on the very top, we've got the G sharp. Now, when I talk about stacking ascending thirds, what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the letter names. Remember, our musical alphabet, we've got A through G, and then we just go back to A again. And we talk about stacking thirds. What we're doing is we're just really skipping every other letter name. Okay, and that's how our chords are built. The fancy term for this is tertian harmony. Tertian meaning three, so like three notes in all our major minor chords, and augmented and diminished too. And then also we're stacking thirds. We're just those intervals. What we're doing is we're skipping every other letter name. So every kind of A chord is going to have the letter names A, then we skip over the B and we have a C, and then we skip over the D and we have an E. So every A chord that we have is some kind of A going to some kind of C up to an E. It's an ACE thing. Every C chord that we have is a CEG thing. Every E chord we have is an EGB thing. Okay? And you can start there with just letter names. You don't even have to worry about intervals and counting half steps and anything like that. Just to figure out the letter name of the chord, what we're going to do is we're going to stack ascending thirds. So if I label this as some kind of B chord, B is the lowest sounding note, B's down in the bass. So what would a B chord consist of? Well, B would be the root, and then you go up a third, it would be some kind of D, and then going up to some kind of F. Every B chord that you have is some kind of B, D, F thing. The problem with labeling this particular chord as a B chord is we don't have a D, we don't have an F. So labeling it a B chord is probably not the best choice. If we called it a G sharp, we got G sharp on the top. If we called it a G sharp chord, we're just going to stack thirds again. So we need a B, a third above G is a B, and then a third above B is a D. Now we've got the B down in the bass, but we don't have the D, so probably G sharp, calling it some kind of G sharp chord is not the best choice either. Now the other two options, if we label it as a C sharp chord, stack thirds. A third above C sharp is an E, we've got that. A third above E is a G, or in this case G sharp, we've got that. And then a third above the G sharp, that's a B. Those are all the notes that we have. And so this is probably the best choice to name the chord because we just have a root, third, the fifth of the chord, and then also the seventh of the chord. We have all of the chord tones just right there. Now it was at RH Proger mentioned, yeah, you could also call this an E chord, E major chord with a 6, add 6, right? And it would be in second inversion. And they're right. The E chord here is an E, G sharp, B. We have all of those notes, okay? But the C sharp is left over, and the C sharp is a 6 above the E, okay? So the 6 is this extra note that you're kind of throwing into the chord that doesn't, usually go there. And a lot of times people say, oh, it's a color tone or something like that. So technically it is correct. This could be an E6 chord. I think it's probably better to call it E add 6 because you're just adding this extra note. You don't actually, if it was an E chord, you don't have the seventh of the chord. There's no D in here, okay? So I like calling it the C sharp minor 7 chord. The reason why is because you've got all of the chord tones there and you can just stack ascending thirds. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to leave me a comment, ask a question, and I will see you next time.